Subtitles. I'm going to invite to the stage directors Dane, Komljen, Margaux, Fournier. Please take a seat. But we have more seats because we have more guests. Also here is Lucia Salas from the selection committee. And as a special sidekick, I think we call this in the talk show world, Martha Mitchell. Welcome. We promised to be finished before midnight, so you can go to where you were supposed to be, at a party or to your bed or to your pumpkin. Martha, I wanted to start with you because, like me, you're not really involved in this program, so you probably have the most fresh look on what you just saw this evening. I'm gonna address you not as a regular audience member, but also from your profession as an actress, as a director, both for theater and for film. And I'm also not asking you for a review, but more for an impression of what you just saw and why you think these two films were programmed together.
Okay, pressure on me. So,
you were prepared, so.
Yes, yeah. Okay, let's think about it. Maybe your last question, how they are maybe intertwined or connected. What I am interested in is that the bodies we see on screen here, I think, in both of your films, somehow, I don't know what they encounter beyond their skin is not something distant or separated from them, but rather like a magic continuity to other living objects, like organs or human beings or the sea. And I think there's something which somehow is connected, like the way you see the individual as like interconnected with the surrounding.
Thank you so much. I guess that will give us a big theme to be talking about.
Yeah.
Bodies, fluidity, all the water we see, and also thinking about acting and performativity. I'm not going to ask you to explain your own work, maybe not just yet, but Dane, do you feel you want to add something, having watched Margaux' film, to what Martha was just saying?
I mean, what I would add is that I feel that both films are, yes, also how we, like, I guess what I understood what you're trying to say is that we don't somehow stop in our where our skin is, but that we can, we
magic
extend
continuity.
We extend into what is, that skin is not the limit, but also it's a lot about the group or these people sharing just time, being together, and also maybe not like being scared or not being scared, and trying to find ways how to be together with themselves in a way that's revealing. So I think it's also, about the shared experience. Well, I could say community, but I think this word is, it's a bit tired. So it's just about sharing. Yeah.
Thank you. And Margaux, how about you after having watched Dane's film? Yes, I think it's on.
I might be disappointing for you, but it's quite an intelligent answer. Yeah. My first sensation, it was like maybe there is a limit to the dialogue in the creation that my movie has a lot of dialogue. So maybe it's balance between our movies. It's the first thought I had watching the two.
Okay. I think but did everybody hear this all right, or should we
It was not
repeat
a good joke anyway. So.
No, but it was at least a good observation.
The first thing that struck me.
When your film was invited, Margaux, and then I'll pass on the same question to you, Dane. Were you told your film would be in a program with another film, and did you know which film it was? And also that we were gonna debate the films under the header of STEILVORLAGE. That means is a term from football, but I'm gonna ask Lucia to explain it more, which means a direct pass at the goal, if I understand it correctly. So you're like a football player, you're running and running, like my fellow countryman Johan Cruyff probably could do very well. So you're right, well, running and running and running. No, it's not that. Oh, and okay, yeah, but it means you're taking a long pass past the defense, and then you aim at the goal. Were you told that the film was put under this header?
What was the question again?
Yeah. Okay. So
I got lost with the football metaphor.
I can maybe understand. It was about if we knew when the films were invited and it's gonna be paired with another film. I mean, yeah, because this is, I guess, the idea. So I think this was clear. Of course, I was not told what film it is paired with until recently, and also not what the sort of the theme will be. But of course, I was aware that it's gonna be like this.
okay,
It's
maybe
Critics
Lucia, then
Week.
I'll hand it over to you. Can you explain the debate format to us?
No, sorry, but first, I'm an Argentinian, but a bad one, so I don't know the football concept. But Till explained it to me several times. So what I have to say about this is that also when we select the films, we don't know which debate format they are going to get. So not as blind as you are, but when we select the films and we do the pairings, and then there's a moment of suspense. And then there is a moment of later knowledge of which film is going to get which debate format. So for us, it's also kind of like a surprise, and it's always a bit fascinating to me which pairing is going to go with which debate format. Until, can you explain the debate format? Yeah, but the football part, like the word in German.
No, I think you explained it quite well, actually. It's a certain pass from that kind of goes across the field, and then the striker is in a good position to actually score a goal. So the pass is basically the pairing, and now you're invited to strike the goals. Whatever that means.
Because there is also something that doesn't happen too often, I guess, that you're having a Q&A after a film, and sometimes maybe someone from the selection committee is asking the questions, but then they're always very much in love with the films and very flattering and very much thinking along with the films. But as a programmer, sometimes you actually also select films that you find more interesting, then you find them good, or you find them more moving, then you find them technically adequate. So Lucia, you're on the spot now, and then we'll just go back to the films and we'll listen to your other expertises. But when you saw both films for the first time, what did you see?
When I saw the films for the first time, what did I see? This is a nice question. So when we are watching films, this is a very particular process that we do here. Usually in film festivals, you watch a lot of Vimeo links that come to you in some sort of platform, and it's like an avalanche of films that sometimes can be a little nightmarish. In this case, it's not like this, because unlike many selection process, we watch what we want to see, or we watch what others want to see. So we scout for films in different festivals, or we hear about things. And we also get people that send us things on the email, but it's usually people that are very much aware of what we do here, which is a little strange sometimes. So it's always either that we watch, there is desire already in the task, either mine or from my colleagues. So it's also interesting that sometimes you watch something that someone else wants to watch, and because I know them and I love them and respect them, it's always a task much closer to love than it's usually with programming. So it's already very different. But when I saw these films, what did I see? In the case of Desire Lines, I didn't really knew what I saw when I saw it, like it was a film that was kind of captivating, and I saw this film, this is probably the third time that I've seen it, or fourth. And it's a film that at first I didn't, every time I saw it, I saw something different, because I couldn't really, it's not a film about understanding, but I was like, what is really happening here? What is happening to this person? I think every time I saw something different, what I saw the first time, I saw more like, a person that was lost in the self and kind of looking, for others. And now what I saw this time was a person that was inhabiting the world through many skins, like you were saying, no? And up until skin is not a limit between the world and him anymore, no? So it's I saw a very mutant film about a person that really wanted to, at first it seemed like a person that was trying to fill some void inside, but then like the more I see it, it's more like a person that is really looking to be others and to be other, no, in general, like just to be with the world, not in the world, no. And with Margaux' film, I saw this gigantic joy, like when we saw it, we were very mesmerized by how joyful it was. And I saw also all these bodies, and I was thinking, I mean, we didn't talk about it when, I don't remember which conversation we had when we decided this, which could seem also like an unlike pairing, because both films have very much in common, but also very different in terms of rhythm and tone. But I was watching Margaux' film, and I was thinking, you could think about the lines in the body like the desire lines also, no? Like what time does to a body, and how bodies acquire something with time. They acquire, a different weight in different parts, different lines, different marks, and this is something that is these lines that are gained in a way with time in the world. And I thought, I didn't realize before how these films also had this, no? That being with a place, being in a place, being with others also leaves these marks that are kind of like also this. I was thinking more in desire lines, more like, you walk towards and then you see. And now I was thinking something more like, okay, like the marks that are left just in being, no? And I didn't think about that before, and I saw this now, and it was very nice to see.
Thank you. I also want to ask conventional questions, because now we already touched a lot of interpretations or possible subjects, but Margaux and Dane, I both want to ask you like a little bit about the process of your work. So kind of going back to this moment of gestation, and where a film was starting to happen. You're both in different moments in your work. This is one of your first films, so that must be different. Let's start with you, and then we'll go to the also where it fits into your work. So I overheard you saying over dinner, I just gave these ladies 200 euros to do what they're always doing, but there must have been something before that. Can you take us there?
Yes. So yes, it's my first short film, and I don't know. I think I wanted to make film for a long time. Not that long because I'm not that old, but a long time. And it's funny that we talk about education before and school and stuff, but school made me think I couldn't make film. My teachers, especially, because I was not studying filmmaking, I was studying distribution. And in France, it's really like you signed for this, so you do this. I don't know about Germany, but and I felt like I needed more, but then they told me it was impossible, so I left the cinema industry, and I work in tech, where I was way more free to do what I want and to have money to do it. And then it struck me, and I was like, no, it was my dream. 4 years later, I want to do it, and it took me like a week to do this. What I was waiting for 5 years. I mean, so I'm from Marseille. I don't know if some of you are familiar with the favorite city of all the European now, but it's my town, Marseille, that has been known a lot for violence, Kalashnikov, all those big arms. And every time I was in Paris or in Lille, where I studied, and I came back from Marseille, people told me, how was it? Are you fine? Are you hurt? But I used to live that life, going to the beach and stuff. So I really wanted to talk about my city before bodies. I mean, like what gave me the need to do this movie was like, I want to show something else than what tourists are telling of my city, that it's amazing, and what people in France think, that it's stinky and violent. So this is what the first approach. And I just had a note in my phone. It was how do you say the flower that go with the sun? Tournesol.
Sunflower.
Sunflower.
Yeah. But the French name is so much more beautiful because it really says,
turning to the sun. Yeah, tournesol. I can do French ASMR, and yes, and this strikes me a lot. And I had more how do you say editing movie. I wanted to film an old lady because it's mostly old ladies that I have time to spend all the week under the sun. And the plan was to film just one woman turning her seat. That's what they do on the sun, and then meet people like I don't know, 11. I meet you, then 5 I meet you, and this is what we found with the groups. For example, this ID stayed, but then I met the real girls because I went to the beach like this, like the real name is Au Bain des Dames. It's a girls' beach, I mean, just basically. And I was like, I'm sure I'm gonna find the girls here, and I found all the group, and this is how it became a story of sorority and group. But at first, it was not prévu, not planned. Thank you, not planned. And yeah, and I just met Joël and Régine with the dog, and I told them it's for a movie. They did like this, and I was like, fuck, this is why I gave the 200 euros, because I felt I need to pay something. And then they just invite me to spend the week with them, and I called a friend. He has just a camera, 2 HF micro, and the dog ate all the micro, so we ended with a camera mic, and it was fine.
So would you call the film more documentary or something else?
In France, it's funny because a lot of people call it docu-fiction, like, and it's fine to me. I think I don't have the word in English, but to me, a documentary seems really not this. I don't know how to say the vibe. I mean, it's too energetic and too crazy for a documentary. I felt like this. I don't watch a lot of documentary. I mean, this is why I don't know what to say. But I try to make a comedy, so it's more fictional approach, I think. But it's their real life, so it's documentary.
Yeah, I think so. I guess
So,
documentary can be many genres.
Yeah.
I think you can have comedy documentaries and horror documentaries. The reason I was asking is because I was curious if you made any interventions into their reality. I mean, you make some stylistically for sure by using slow motion, but what I see you smile. What else did you do?
I mean, everything is. We were. Sorry, it's really like you weren't here at the dinner, the restaurant we had, and we had a good conversation. But we talked about the way that we can write on the stage, in France.
Maybe I
it-
should hand you
Yeah.
the microphone. Hmm? No, this one is. I think it's.
Okay.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be working now.
No, I think. Test. Test.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, we talk about how we write écriture plateau. We say it in French. It's more in theater.
Yeah, work in progress. We spoke about that. We both worked like wrote while doing it, and as interaction with the people who actually also do it. Like the actors decide on what is going to happen.
And in my case, it was this. I was just observing them on day one, and then I came back home. I was de-rushing. I mean, cutting
Yeah, the rushes
the
or
yeah,
the footage. Yeah.
footage, and I was like, okay, they talked about this. Maybe tomorrow we can try to make them do this or whatever. For example, Joëlle, she told me a lot. She was telling me a lot. I want to meet a guy, a tall like this, and it happened that my uncle just broke with my aunt, and he's 76.
So the guy in this
Yes.
is your uncle.
Of course, it's my uncle.
So you asked him to.
So I was like,
perform.
maybe it could work, but I mean, sincerely, I tried it could work. So I really wanted to capture this, this young moment, like when we are teenager and you touch the hand of someone and you have this butterfly in the. I don't know. I wanted to see. It's awful to say that's like an experiment, but I wanted to see if this still happened when you are this age, and it happens. This is why I made this scene, because when I saw them meeting for the first time, it was like, hi, what are you doing? Yeah, my name is, nice to meet you. They were like this. And I was like, oh, it looks like a teen movie when they had the folders and, in the high school, and the folders just fell and they touched the hand, and then the image just is just pink with, yeah. So I made this. But it's true. It's what happened in their guts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you. Dane, I hope you have a microphone that works. Can you talk us a little bit through your process? Having watched your films, I feel like that's a bigger research with returning elements.
It's just this film took a long time to be made. So there is, of course, the research process. There's always the research process. I just have a feeling that in this film there is certain notions that were almost like gravity centers around which also like other films I made revolved around, and that somehow Desire Lines for me was this film towards which I had a really feeling like of a long march, and that along this walking to this film, I also made other films that dealt with some of the themes, I don't know, but images I touched in Desire Lines. And it was the writing. I started writing it. It's now actually in 2016, so it's now it would be 10 years ago. And then the first, let's say, big draft of the script was finished 2 years later, and then it was very complicated film to finance. Also because we were. It was majority Serbian film, so we had to get the main financing there and then build from there. And somehow every step was just took time. Then once it became clear we will film, I returned to the writing, and this time with another person, with Tanja Šljivar, and then the film changed, of course, through that. But I think the thing about, how to say, the way I make films is, for me, somehow, it's difficult to describe one process because it is yours. I think it's easier maybe for someone from the outside to compare them because it is the one that I know. But what I could say about it, that there were things, and in case of this film specifically, because it had the script that was most formed from what I did thus far. But then there is always space to change things. Like also in the shoot, there is always time left for to film things that were not scripted and that, of course, come from, let's say, this play, dance between actors, actresses, and other crew members, but in this case also actors. But as we were, for example, looking for locations, a lot of these trips also informed the script. So like the script was something that was continuously being rewritten. And a big, of course, difference with Desire Lines compared to the previous films is the size of it, in my case, because my first two features were made in very... so we just had not so big crews. Like the first film was 5 people, the second film was 8 people on the set. And this created a certain sense of being sheltered that I think was also something that I wanted to do that way. And in this case, it just a bit exploded everything in the size. And I think this also had so many consequences in terms also of like how it feels to make a film, but also it made me realize how, just precious everyone is in this mechanism of making a film. You know, like there are things that I think are fundamental for the film that came once the set designers just changed the film. For example, the way that the house looks, I imagined it totally different, and I describe it in the script in a way that's very, it was much smaller, much darker, almost like a small family house. And they were like, no, it should be less defined, more open space. And then we started looking for it. And this, for example, is a clear like how much it changed, and it is also
So do you remember what the first image was that you wanted to put in this film?
Well, it was the image of desire lines. I think this is how the film started. This is something that is in the film a lot, but it's desire lines it's urbanistic term. It's for all the paths. We know them mostly from parks. So the parts that are not paved. So we often think of them as shortcuts, but they are actually not shortcuts because they are sometimes longer than the path that is proposed. For me, it was always about, the need for disobedience or the need for freedom, because it is a way also, in a way, it's a way that the movement inscribes itself into landscape, So like this it's a trace of a movement through a certain space. And then I started noticing them, and it was just this image. It's a path, and then there's a body walking along this path, and this was the first image.
And also, I guess, bodies creating those paths, because what I understand about desire lines is also that they're not shortcuts. Sometimes they're longer, but they are more the logical way, or the way that feels more logical than the path.
Well, it's humans, but it's also like cattle makes, like cows and goats also make these paths. So it's also, this logical. It's the bodies. It's the weight of the bodies along one path. And it's also, the film traces it because it's a film that starts on paved paths and then moves onto desire lines. And then it also then moves into a territory where maybe there are no paths. And this is when there is at the end of the film, the shot of the phone. It's just green, and there are no roads, there are no paths, no rivers. It is just something that is beyond. And I think this is maybe the direction that the film was going towards.
So for me, having watched your previous films, I also feel like this beyondness is something that has been developing throughout those films. This idea of communal dreaming, or of telepathy, or of the proximity of bodies that are communicating in ways that are beyond the verbal. In your last feature, you used a lot of texts from theory that were kind of in this, collective conscious voiceover. I'm interested to hear what you're reading when you're working on your films, and especially with this one.
Well, I'm a reader, so it's just something I do. And of course, so first I will answer your question. But first I will not answer it because I really wanted to make a film that's my own with this one. So yes, I have seen films in my life. I have seen a lot of films, but I wanted to make my film. And also I read stuff, and it informed. I think this is important to say that I really wanted to because I have a feeling we do stuff, and it's of course easy to make connections and say, okay, this reminds of this and this reminds of this, and we all share the same world. But I was really trying to see, okay, not my gaze because it doesn't belong to me, but something that is created with these particular people in this situation, that we do something that is in that moment. And now to answer it, so I was reading lots, also of course, many different things that I could point to, but yeah, of course, the walking stuff. I mean, starting from Théo, he has a short essay that's called Walking, and also, I mean, there was from the Rousseau Reveries of a Solitary Walker, but you know, because walking is also somehow so present in literature, you know, like you have Rousseau, but you also have Sebald. There is so much to point towards, and I think somehow there was a lot of books about walking, also a lot of books about lines, like what does it what does a line do to a space, what does the line do also when you think about painting, so on and so on, and all the usual suspects. I mean, Donna Haraway, but that was also so much in Afterwater, and yeah. So this is maybe one of the answers.
Is cinema for you a desire line to get to where you want to be?
So yes, yes. It's just, it is also something that at this point is what I do, and also I think I would say I need it. So it's also a way, yeah, it's, you know, like now it becomes, then it's very heavy, but it's, I think, I don't know if this was, I think maybe this is an eternal question, but I don't know if it's like, because we are in a generation where, yes, so many, there's just more people making films. So this is most simple way. So, and it's also we are producing so many moving images constantly, and it's very immediate. So I have a feeling that there is a weight of this question: am I doing something because I'm really doing it, or I'm just doing something because it's, you know, atmosphere, you know? And I guess that people always ask themselves, but I have a feeling that I encounter this question more and more. And I don't know if I am stopped answering that question for myself, but it's just also a way for me to relate to, yeah, what I lived through films. Yeah. So yes.
Thank you, Martha. I feel like you wanted to say something.
No, I'm just really an invested listener. I just move. My body moves while listening. But because of you, when you asked what texts you read, I know that's probably not what you read, but for me, like seeing your films somehow, especially this one, I'm reminded by like the dark romantic epoche, time in a way. And I think especially how your film evolves desire lines, because at the beginning somehow I don't know, I was so interested in the fact that, like, of course, the limit of our body is marked by pain, like, to put it very emo, once one suffers one's environment somehow, but can be also very lustfully. And this somehow reminded me when the films like How It Continues reminds me on like the like romantic epoche. How do you say it? Epoche.
Romantic
Period.
era?
Romantic period. Because they are the desire to transform is always somehow a desire or a death drive, like a death drive. And I felt that so strong, the desire to resolve all boundaries in a way. And I don't know, but also to open up to chaos.
I mean, they painted a lot of ruins, so there is a lot of ruins being painted during the Romantic period. So this is maybe my first thing, because I'm also a bit into ruins. But I relate. I think it's a lot about dissolving, or like maybe boundaries becoming not boundaries.
Yeah, that was a long talk really for me to get to the last sentence I said of like dissolving boundaries, which is I think where we meet then again, hopefully.
So there are the ruins, and there is the past. Maybe, I don't know, the past is in ruins or the past is before us. But you also use AI as a new technology, and I simply have to ask you about it, why that was important for this film.
So it's a part of a much larger scene that was cut out. What you see, this was for me like a lesson. It was the biggest and most expensive scene in the film, and it's not, you haven't seen it. And the AI was always intended as the end of that scene. But it's a scene in the factory, which is the image where you come. And there was a lot of work. If Andre is still around, I would like to thank him for all the efforts, because we didn't want it to look as because AI looks in a certain way, and there was a lot of back and forth in order to try to get to a certain image, and in the end what you see is actually two different images superimposed on top of each other. So there is this slight shimmer that happens because of it. But the idea was that so it's a factory, and it's a man-made space. One can say it's a man-made machine, and AI is another man-made machine. And for me, I was thinking about this idea that it's a film where also one of the boundaries that's being softened is also between how do you speak, or can you feel something from like between maybe someone who is human or non-human. And then of course it was about having like one man-made machine dreaming about another man-made machine, and we are somehow removed from this relationship. So the image that appears, it's an image that's beyond us in a way.
That's a whole new talk. Maybe we can do that yet next year. But it's also a good moment to maybe look at the audience and see if there are any questions on your side before we go to the party. There is a microphone. I'm going to give you mine. That also means that you really have to listen to me when I say we have to stop.
It's actually quite a short question. I wanted to thank you all, everyone who's on the podium, etc. Thank you for this quite marvelous experience. I just have one question. So I'm sorry, don't know your name, but the graffiti has not been put on the wall by you, right? It's all because as you talked about that, you just found everything like it was, and that's why I think it was there already, right?
You're not working in police, right? It's me.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
me. It was existing. This is what I said about fiction, non-fiction. I was not creating, but just I don't like the word manipulating, but I recreate something that already exists 5 years ago, and I saw, and that shocked me, and I found it was a good enter point to the movie, I had this image. I was like, okay, what Joël will do if she see this in the morning. And when I told her, I think you will take off your clothes and make a big fuck, she told me, yes, I do. Yes, I will do that. So we made it happen. But it's not fake, but it's made by me for the movie, but it has existed before. So
just to add to that, because why I find it that important to have that graffiti, because this is like a glimpse of the real fucked up things that are happening at the moment. For example, they could enter through this kind of you women with your bodies, you have to do as we tell you,
of course,
like this graffiti, and to have this insight and still celebrating this joy. It's
and you're right. I think this graffiti was existing 5 years ago, but I'm also always wondering why is there so many beaches that are where the monokini is forbidden. You know, a lot in Greece, in Italy, it's a new wave. There is no monokini. It's forbidden now for women to show their breast. And it's funny because we can't wear burqa, we can be naked. And at the time, I'm like, what should we do? You know, we can be covered, we can be naked, we can't just be, in fact. So I think it's, as you said, sometimes you don't know what you read, what you see. And I think I've been shocked by all those news that saying in Greece, it's totally forbidden, in Italy, in all those places. So, yeah.
There was also a question, I think, in the back, and then there's one in the middle.
Yeah, I have a question for Margaux. It's a question that came to my mind in the perspective of the film I saw before, where you could see this kind of emerging community in this sort of virgin landscape. And then we see your film with this pretty antique community in this very actually old city, Marseille. And I was very happy when you started presenting your film, saying that for you, you wanted to make a film talk about Marseille. That was your first.
You're French, right?
Yes. And yeah, could you tell us about Marseille? What is it for you?
What is Marseille? For me?
Yeah.
Okay. It's where I were born, where I've been raised. I think I have a complicated relation to this city, but as a lot of people, as with their first town, I don't know what to say, but when you I mean, it depends of the country, I think, but in France, where you're not born and raised in Paris, in the center of the holy world, you have that feeling that you need to leave your mom to be a theater and to go to Paris. It's kind of what we call and even if you don't have a lot of money, a lot of things, it's really hard to go to Paris, to live in 5 square meters and stuff. It's really hard. And at the same time, you hate this city that gave birth to you because they don't have any school for you. I mean, like if you want to do cinema, so you're kind of angry that you can stay with your old brats at the beach, like during. So I had this feeling really hard that Marseille has been a city not good enough for me. That's hard to say that, but at the time, because of political, problems, because the money never. It's like in Italy, in the south of Italy, the money is taken by people, not for the people. So there were not a lot of infrastructure, not a lot of culture. So I think I have this complicated relationship, but at the same time, it's the only place I feel home. Even if I have this, I started with photography, not a movie at first, and I can't take any photo outside of Marseille, because of the light. the light of Marseille, for those who know, is the best light of the world, of course, because in Marseille we are really, really egotic. We have all the best things, and at the same time we have nothing, you know, like, so it's really complicated for me. And when I left, so because I left to have better choices, then 10 years later, the city become, you know, the thing, the place to be. And I was not here. And I was like, what the fuck? I was born here. I was waiting for museum, for theater, for art. And I went to Paris. My ass is really cold there. And now you're doing all that stuff in Marseille. And I was like, no, wait. I need to be part of it. And I need to show you what is real Marseille before all the Parisians start to tell their story about my city, you know, because I see them coming with big shoes and telling fake stuff about us. So now that I have the opportunity that my city is on the stage, I took the opportunity to tell the real story that we before can't tell. You know.
It felt very real.
Sorry.
Felt very real.
It seems there's a question just behind you, so this is an easy way.
Hey, thanks for the two nice film. The question is for Dane. I really loved your film. I think it's amazing, and I wanted to ask you about the script that changed during this time. I mean, it's a very crucial decade between 2016 and 2026, and towards the end of the film, there is this electrifying scene with the two persons, one entering into the other, and the language changes. So to ask when this occurred in time, and if you can talk a little bit through those changes, languages, langages, like not only in words.
So actually there is change of languages before, but it is something that is not really transparent for people who are not from Yugoslavia. And this was also something that was somehow discussed a lot. It was discussed if it should be somehow signalized via different type of, like for example, the color of subtitles. And somehow, yeah, for me, it just felt that, yeah, it's a part of the film that cannot be shared by everyone, you know. It's simply like that, you know. We maybe want something of films or images or art in general to be what our experiences are not, you know. And so this is somehow inside already before the last scene, because we shift between also different I mean, Serbo-Croatian is now 4 languages, but you can feel when someone comes. So this is already happening in the film. And then there's also Slovenian. And the Arabic came after, when I was rewriting it in. So we got the let's say the second turn, the second round of writing happened in 21. And the thing is that, so I wrote it from 2016 2018, and then towards the end of 2000, it was always clear it's going to be on this mountain, the film. And this mountain became part of the route that migrants, mostly from Syria, and this is also the story of the person who acted in the film. I mean, he didn't take this route, but he went through Belgrade and then Hungary, but this is northwest of Bosnia. And they were... so the mountain was on the route, and the border crossing to Croatia that is nearby, and which a person in the film passes just like that because he's invisible was the site of one of the most violent pushbacks on the side of Croatian police, because Croatia is now at the edge of well, not Europe but EU. EU. So there was just lots of violence happening. And when I was doing the film was supposed to be about walking, and it was very much linked to the experience of migration and maybe not belonging to a certain place. And once I was realized that in this place where I was imagining all these images, this was happening, it almost felt like I do not have a choice but to include it, that it needs to become. And then it became just the way how to think about how this will be part of the film. Is it actually, and it was also like, okay, what would feel right, like going there or finding someone who is in that situation. And in the end, was okay, it is a fiction, but it is, and the person speaks, but it's also about the way that this person moves. And I think for me was important that it is someone who had this experience, that for whom crossing a non-charted, non-urban landscape is not just, okay, this is a series of words. It carries a certain weight, and I feel that this is then visible in the images that were there. And the text is so it's inspired by it's apart from the conference of the birds, when the bat flies towards the sun, is what we somehow not took from there, but it's almost like an echo of the story that is told there, which is a very long text, a poem in which different types of birds speak. Yeah.
Thank you. I think, Dennis, you have the last question. Or maybe you just wanted to say, let's go party, but I'm not sure.
Also, yes. No, but I have a very short question. I was thinking about, Margaux, you spoke about your choice of making a humorous film early in the conversation. And I'm curious, Dane, when I watched your film, I thought a lot about the question of seriousness in the film. So I see many films in which there's not a lot of humor or no humor, but in your film, I thought there was also I could feel there was a seriousness in the film, and I thought somehow about it. And I'm wondering whether it was a choice for you to create a film without humor in that case, and maybe why, or how you see your work as being connected to an idea of seriousness, and maybe the others also, if you share my observation.
I mean, it's not a funny film, so this I agree. And I was actually thinking that this was one of the reasons why the film were paired, because it makes the contrast more striking. I have nothing smart to say about that, except that it is simply something that I do. So I do have an idea for a comedy, but I don't know if I will ever be able to make it. So I really don't think I will make the film, so I feel free to share it.
I mean, I saw glimpses of
so
comedy.
It's a film about where so it's about gay guys who always, so you're in a relationship and then you exit from this relationship and enter the new one. And the thing is, in the new relationship, you always take the identity of your previous lover. So it's like a bunch of people who are like walking around with identities that they took. And then there is, of course, the point is when two guys with same identity meet, and it should be a comedy of misrecognizing, and the title is The Homosexuals. So and it takes place in Berlin. So this was my contribution to you seeing a comic side of me, but I think this is where it stays. I'm pretty sure next film will be in this same tone. Someone else can maybe make The Homosexuals. I share this idea, yeah.
Three film ideas. Dane, Margaux, Martha, and Sia, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your attendance.